Hi, this is Kerala at KeralaFicklin.com, Welcome Network.com, and welcome is spelled W-Y-L-C-O-M-E, network.com or welcome.com. Also Pedience.com, and at Pedience.com you can get all my books, all my writings, everything that I've written about language. You can find it at Pedience.com. So let's get to it. This is a continuation from the other video that I'm doing on going from English to Spanish, and certain things that for an English speaker may not appear to be important, but in Spanish, or whether you're talking Spanish or French or Italian, excuse me, or Portuguese, is important. So I'm looking over here and I'm looking at the website. Now this is on both of the websites. It's on welcomenetwork.com, and it's also on Pedience, because it has some of my writing here. I'm just going to read something for you, and it'll take about a minute or so. Normally in Spanish, the difference between the masculine and the feminine articles makes very little sense to an English speaker. So to an English speaker, you know, if you say la coche, el coche, la silla, el silla, well, you understand. We're basically talking about a car or a chair. Therefore, many ignore the rule totally when speaking Spanish. They'll say, well, you know, you understand. If I say el caja, la caja, what's the difference? Although the Spanish which is spoken is not correct, because when you say la coche instead of saying el coche, and I think in French it's la voiture, it's feminine, okay? When you say el luna versus la luna, they say, well, it's not correct, but they figure you understand what they're saying. Although the Spanish which is spoken is not correct, the misuses of the article does not lead to total, notice this, total miscommunication. It would be equivalent to saying in English a apple versus an apple. Okay? A apple is wrong. It's an apple because of the vowel. Or it's equivalent to saying, and this is a little bit stronger, but it's still understandable, he don't go to the store. If you say la coche versus he doesn't go to the store, which would be el coche. Okay, because he doesn't go to the store is correct, but he don't go to the store is incorrect, but you understand what I'm saying. It's not the best English, but it's understandable. Okay? In fact, it's incorrect English, but it's understandable. You can understand what I'm saying. However, there are exceptions in which the incorrect use of the masculine versus feminine article can lead to a breakdown in communication. And don't forget, whether you're speaking Spanish or English or French or Chinese or whatever, if what you're saying is so bad language-wise that it leads to the breakdown in communication, there's a problem. Okay, so I'm going to continue with what I'm reading. In English, it would be equivalent to the difference between, now listen, because here there is a difference, living at home versus living in a home. So you might say, well, what's the difference if I say at home, a home? There's a difference. In English, if you say, I'm living at home, I have a very different idea than if you were to say, I'm living in a home. Okay? Or another example of a difference would be, it would be the difference in saying, I'm going to prison or church, maybe that would be a better example, or school, versus saying, I'm going to the prison, I'm going to the school, or to the church. There's a difference when you don't put the article in front of words such as prison, church, and school, and when you do put the article. They mean two very different things. If you're going to prison, that means you're going inside and they're going to lock you up. If you're going to school, you're going inside the institution to learn. Versus if you're going to the prison, that means you're going there for something other than the reason that one normally goes to prison. You're not going to be locked up. Maybe you work there. Maybe you're going to do a gig there. You're going to give a show. Maybe you're going to visit someone. But you're not going there because you have committed a crime. So it's different. So sometimes in Spanish, okay, my dear English friends, it's not the difference between a apple versus an apple, okay? Or he don't talk versus he doesn't talk. Sometimes if you use the wrong article, whether you say feminine versus masculine, it can lead to a breakdown in communication. And let me show you why. If you say el arte, if I'm not pronouncing it very well, it's A-R-T-E. You're talking about craft, like arts and crafts. Versus if you say las artes, which you're talking about with the feminine. Now it's plural. I acknowledge that it's plural, but it's not masculine. It's feminine and plural. Las artes, you're talking about fine art. There's a place in Mexico called Bellas Artes. It's beautiful. It's in Mexico City, and that's where you will find fine art in Mexico City. You find in other places too. It's called Bellas Artes. Beautiful arts or fine arts. Okay. There's a difference in saying el batería, and la batería. El batería is a drummer in a band, drummer in the band. La batería, you're talking about either footlights, and I think this all depends on what part of the world you're speaking Spanish, or you're talking about kitchen utensils. So you can see that using the feminine versus the masculine changes the meaning of the word. If you say el cabeza, you're talking about the head of an organization, the leader, right? We do that too. We say el cabeza, which means the head. But we're not talking about this thing right here, right? Because we don't have anything to help us to distinguish whether it means this thing that holds up, that's on top of our body, versus the leader or the head of an organization. Context tells us in English, but in Spanish they tweaked the word a little bit. So if I say el cabeza de la organización, I'm talking about the head or leader of an organization. But if I say la cabeza, this is what I'm talking about, the head or the skull. I'll be back and we'll continue talking about when articles, feminine versus masculine, are important. And if a little bit of time, we'll talk a little bit about accents also, and why they're also important in Spanish.